Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Rise of Tribes. Before we get started, I want to mention this is the prototype copy I have right here. Even though it looks really nice, take everything you see here with a grain of salt. So first and foremost, we got our handy dandy rule book. It is 8 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples. It is exceptionally well done. It will have you up and running in no time at all. Huge thumbs up on this rule booklet. So in Rise of Tribes, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be trying to be the first person to get to 15 points on this board. If you do that, you will win immediately. You are going to get points by acquiring these cards right here and then trying to complete these cards right here, and also by building villages and defending those villages. I'll show you how all that works in a second. So let's go over the components. Let's get into the gameplay. So first we've got the board set up right here, and it's set up for a 2-player game. If you're playing with a 3 or 4-player game, it will be set up slightly different. And the big thing here are there are 3 different types of terrain tile. First, you're going to have woods, you're going to have water, and you're going to have stone, and these are going to produce various different resources. The water will produce fish, the stone will produce, you guessed it, stone, and the woods will produce, you guessed it, wood. And those are the 3 types of resources in the game. You are going to use those resources to do a couple different things. First, you can build villages on spots where you are. Villages are very good because they will give you a point at the beginning of every round, but also they will allow you to potentially get rid of these cards that you don't like. So these are called lead cards, and everyone's going to have a deck of these lead cards. In order, you're going to have to do a specific action to gain these lead cards. So let's take a look. There's 2 types of lead cards that you'll get. The first one are going to be brown ones, and they'll be pretty self-explanatory. You're going to be gathering resources or spreading yourself out to different hexes, getting all your people on the board, so on and so forth. And once you complete those, you will gain victory points. 4 victory points is a lot of victory points. Now, there also are what are called upgrades, which were the blue ones. Think of them as like technology. So you may move 2 additional tribe members if you build this cart with two fish and 1 wood. It's also going to give you a victory point, but it gives you a persistent special ability you'll be able to use throughout the game. So a nice mixture of cards there. So those are going to be the 2 main ways that you're going to gain victory points. Continuing on component-wise, you're going to have a bunch of meeples. So when you first start the game, the first player is going to put 2 on the board. The second player will put 3 on the board, and the 4th player will get... You'll slowly get more things depending on if you're the first player, second player, third player, 4th player, because you will have a slight advantage, especially considering the game ends immediately when someone gets to 15 points. So next we have this board up here. This is a very useful board. I'm going to go over this board in a minute, but what you need to know is this is how the board is going to start set up. And there are going to be 3 faces on the die. You're going to have the little sun, you're going to have the little moon, and then you're going to have a bunch of blanks. Those will make slightly more sense later. Also, there's going to be an event deck up here. And if you ever roll doubles, then you will flip over an event card, assuming that it's not already full, and they'll do various different things. So place 6 food on this card. When a player gathers, they also may take 2 resources from this card for each lake hex producing. So for instance, if you have a bunch of lakes, this is going to give you a bunch more fish. Droughts, the population limit of each hex is now 4 tribe members, and I'll tell you how that works a little bit later. This one's stone. This one you're going to have various different resources on it. These are wild hunters, where you'll be stacking these neutral tokens. So lots of various different events. You'll never go through all of them in the game. So each game will have its own unique flavor. So the best way to show you the different actions in the game is just to go ahead, roll the dice, and do it. So first thing you're going to do, and we'll be looking at our handy dandy little player board here, which is going to tell you the order of play. It's also going to tell you what you need to do to build a village, because everybody is going to be asymmetrical in how they build villages. Also, when you're in the advanced version of the game, you can play with these asymmetrical cards, which I do recommend after the first or second game. They add a lot of variability to the game a little bit. But first thing you're going to do, villages earn points. So if you had a village on the board, bada boom like that, you would gain a point at the beginning of every round. So it's a great way to earn points. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to roll your 2 dice, and then you're going to place them out onto one of these action spots up here. So let's go over the 4 different action spots. So first action spot is grow. So if I want to do the grow action, I would put my dice here. I would slap that over, put this down here, and then I would